Good evening, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's very special shir with Rabbi Gavriel Friedman. We're going to hear from the Rabbi momentarily, just some brief opening remarks. Well, I'd like to thank all Simcha, the shul, for hosting, Rabbi Elbaz, Rabbi Chaimov, the entire leadership of the shul. Let's give a round of applause to the shul for hosting tonight's event, Baruch Hashem. Tonight, Chazaq is partnering together with, of course, the shul, Amudim, the UJA. Of course, we know Amudim does amazing, life-changing work, dealing with mental health and so many different crucial topics and causes and initiatives on behalf of the Jewish people. And tonight, we actually, tonight's program, as you see on the boards in the back, it's being dedicated by some amazing families: the Nisanian family, Danny Yusupov, Rivka Levi, Eden Cohen, Esther Samechava, Michal Davidov, Sarah Hakimi, and Boris Leviev, Charlene Hakimi, Atab Levana, Rachel Asimova, Hannah Sarah, and Tamara Akilov. Let's give a round of applause for dedicating tonight's shir. And the shir is being dedicated, of course, the Jewish people. Of course, we know that one of our greatest speakers, one of our greatest leaders in Klal Yisrael, Rabbi Pesach Krohn, unfortunately, he had a stroke last week, and we're dedicating this year, of course, for his refuah shlema. He's very close with Chazaq for many years. Has been speaking for Chazaq since our inception 18 years ago. And Baruch Hashem, I think he's spoken out of all the speakers, all the amazing speakers who speak out for Chazaq. I think he's spoken the most amount of times. So of course we're dedicating it for his refuah shlema, Pesach Yosef Ben Hinda. And of course on the sheet over here we have all the names for refuah shlema and Leilui Nishma. We want to mention Arkady Avraham Ben Mazal is the father of Shalom Zerkiev and the father-in-law of the Victoria Zerkiev, and their entire family is of course great friends and supporters of Chazaq, and we wish the family of only the Surat B'ezrat Hashem. And we want to give all the dedications that on the entire sheet. There's over 10, 15 different names. It's part of this yard site initiative, which the sheet's on everyone's table. And it's the initiative is being spearheaded by Milana over here. Let's give a round of applause. Baruch Hashem is doing the Chazaq team, and is a great powerhouse, full of energy, helping Klal Yisrael. And what the initiative is that just like so many different families dedicated tonight, is that you have an opportunity on the night of the yard site to uplift the neshama, the soul of those of your loved ones. So of course everyone should text Milana, send in your names for the names and the dates of the yard site of your loved ones, family members, whatever it may be, and we can organize this shiur program in the memory of B'ezrat Hashem. And just a word about the Chazaq organization. We know it organizes different shiurim and events like tonight, hundreds of people to inspire Klal Yisrael. And of course, Chazaq's main mission is to inspire tens of thousands of public school students through after-school programs, Sunday school programs in 20 different locations, with the goal of, if they're interested, to transfer to yeshiva. And since 2017, Chazaq has helped transfer over 1,700 students from public school to yeshiva, Baruch Hashem. And of course, there's much more work to do. And of course, everyone should reach out to Chazaq, send us their information. Everyone knows a friend, a family member, co-worker who has children in public school. And of course, we should refer them to Chazaq so we can give them a Jewish education. And B'ezrat Hashem, somebody who's himself is doing so much for Klal Yisrael. There's an amazing initiative, global movement, thousands of people are part of. It's called Daily Giving, and Baruch Hashem, we have the great schus, the great merit that the founder is here, and he's going to give a quick announcement. Let's give a round of applause for Dr. Donner.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So what we did is we automated a platform about 6 years ago to try and get Jews all over the world to give $1 tzedakah together every single day. And every day we give the entire amount of tzedakah to a different incredible Jewish organization, including Chazaq, including Amudim. And every day you can email telling you where the money's going with a video and a link so you learn about those organizations. And today Today, we gave out over $20,599 today, which comes out to, we're just about to hit over $7.5 million a year that we're giving out, and we don't take a penny. 100 cents of your dollar goes to tzedakah. And something else very special is today, literally today, we distributed our 20 millionth dollar. And today was my Zadie's birthday, and it's just a complete coincidence. I was talking to my mother as I walked in here. She was so excited. She's like, was that planned? I said, no, I always attributed the success of daily giving to my Zadie, who was a Holocaust survivor, a very, very special man. And today would have been his 112th birthday. He was born on 12/12/1912. So the only thing standing between me and Rav Gav, is Rav Gav, and I don't know if I know, I'm just talking to a couple of guys who never heard Rav Gav. I'm like, wow, you are in for a treat. Rav Gav is literally one of the best speakers in the world. And so just before Rav Gav comes up here, who's been a great partner to Daily Giving since the very beginning, the Daily Giver himself, I would just want to tell you a story that I actually had not told publicly very often. Usually when I tell the story, how did I start Daily Giving? I said I listened to a shir on how small mitzvahs matter, and I walked into my local Marav Minyan, and I put $1 in a tzedakah box like we always do our whole lives. And that moment, I had this epiphany that no matter how much money I give to tzedakah, I still get a mitzvah for this $1. So I was like, how can I guarantee myself the mitzvah every day for $1? That was what I thought, and from there, it grew to what it is. But recently, I listened to that little class that I said, the shir. I listened to it for the first time. I never even thought to listen to it again. But right before Rosh Hashanah, I decided to listen to it again. And it was fire. And I was like, wow, no wonder this inspired me to start daily giving. And I recommend, I'm going to send Robbie the link to the shir. It was by a rabbi named Rabbi Alon Anava from Tzfat. And Rabbi Anava, and for those who don't know who that is, he says, I wasn't just a secular Jew, I would purposely eat cheeseburgers on Yom Kippur. And he basically died of a drug overdose. And this 2-hour class is about what felt like 2 billion years, is what he says. What felt like 2 billion years of what he went through before coming back to life. And in it, he talks about, it's fascinating, I'm telling you, you should watch it. It'll inspire you, it's amazing. But he talks about how he was in this black abyss of emptiness, of pain and suffering. And the message he got was, you don't even have a single mitzvah to elevate you. Not one mitzvah. And so his message is that even small mitzvahs matter, and that's when I was inspired to start daily giving. So it just, I had the schus to be close to Rabbi Zachariah Wallerstein Zatzal, and Rabbi Wallerstein used to say, how could we only be at 2,000? How could we only be at 8,000? And now we're at 20,000, but we should be at 100,000 a day, and hopefully everyone in this room will join. And I'll tell you that I think the reason is just that everyone loves the idea, but if they don't do it right away, the Yetzer Hara distracts us. So I would ask you, take your phone out right now for 2 seconds and send yourself a text or an email to look up the website later tonight. It's dailygiving.org, and I'm telling you, you never know which mitzvah is going to be the difference. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Dr. Donath. We're to call upon, just for one more quick moment, being dedicated. Everyone sees the papers on their table. One of the names being dedicated is for Yair Netzer, by the Nisanian family, Rabbi Nisanian, Rabbi Nisanian, and their entire family are great leaders in the community. And we'll call upon Rabbi Nisanian.
Good evening, everyone. Be'ezrat Hashem na'aseh v'netzliach. Yeh ratzon that this shiur will be Le'ilui Nishmot Kol Metei Yisrael, and among them my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law, that all of them passed away in a very, very short distance of time this year. And of course, our son, Yair Netzer. Yair in Hebrew means to enlighten. And in commemoration for his yortzeit, our family came up with this program that's we call it Light It Up. And what it means. In our generation, we are so selfish. Everything is I. We don't see an inch from us. And of course, we decided that we're giving opportunities. If you look at the pamphlet that you have, we have there about 40 ideas how you can light up someone. And someone could be anyone. As we always said, chesed start from home, your spouses, your children, friends, community. Just by saying, hi, how are you? You never know how much nachat you're causing that person that you're asking. About a month ago, I had to go through surgery in my eye. And Baruch Hashem, it's going okay. It was so amazing when you see someone from my congregation almost every other day, Rabbi, hi, how are you? I feel kind of embarrassed that he take his time to call me. But in the other hand, I feel so good. The rabbi in a place that I'm praying there, every so often he comes to me, no, how's everything? And again, this makes so much difference to me, and I'm sure to anyone that you will use it, and how much it costs you, how long it takes you, hi, how are you, everything is okay, what's happening, your family, children, business, health, and so on and so on. We need mitzvot. As you heard before me, $1 a day, a smile a day, just can make the difference for you in this olam and in the world to come, but also to the person that you're asking. A smile, a hug, can change the whole thing for the person that's you're asking for. So Be'ezrat Hashem, Yehi Ratzon that whatever you do in your life, don't be just selfish. Try to share with others, and Be'ezrat Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach, amen v'amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Nisani. So, of course, everyone, the pamphlet, they should review the pamphlet, the booklet, and of course, everyone should take upon themselves an idea or two. So, Hashem, and of course, thank you, Dr. Donath, for joining us and for your remarks. Very inspiring. Of course, everyone should sign up at dailygiving.org. $1 a day, smile a day, with Hashem. And everyone, please rise with Kavod Torah for our dear friend from Israel, Rabbi Gavriel Friedman.
Okay, so we have a good men's section here. This is good. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. Start off, first of all, I'm going to say something, and then I want you to say it also, so to repeat after me, if that's okay. First, I'll start with just saying that there should be a refuah shlema for Pesach Yosef ben Hinda. Amen. Now you also say it. Refuah shlema, Pesach Yosef ben Hinda. Amen. Rabbi Krohn is I don't know what words I'm allowed to use. He's the OG. If you're familiar with what that means, for those who know. Anyway, he's the original, and I just want to share my own hakaras hatov. I see there's a lot of Ashkenazim here. Hakaras hatov for Rabbi Krohn, because he had a major impact on my life and still does have a major impact on my life in so many ways. And he's going on. He should be continued health and strength. and really continue to inspire Klal Yisrael. And it's not just, sometimes I'll get up and I'll say this about certain Rabbanim, I'm not saying who, but I don't really know who they are. I know who Rabbi Cohen is. I know he is, and he's really unbelievable. He's really a gift. Eibishter gave us a tremendous gift. And we should daven, make sure that we're davening for him. Say some tehillim, have him in mind. Now, I had in mind to say one thing, and it's rare that I end up saying what I had in mind. So I just want to tell you, that was my first introduction. My second introduction is that when the doc got up here and spoke about daily giving, let me just explain something, and I'm not paid to do this, although you have the money. I'm not, get that, you ready? Action? Okay, I'm not paid to do this yet. But tzedakah tatzil mimaves, pshutu kamashmo. Tzedakah, when a person gives charity, when they give, it quite literally, is this going to fall on me? What's happening? Rabbi, you sure? Tzedakah tatzil mimaves, which means that charity saves one from death. It's not that when Chazal speak, there can be many layers and meanings of what something is trying to be shown. But pshuto kamashmo means it literally saves a person from death. Besides the fact that connected to it is in of itself, it's a chesed to be doing such a thing and helping. I'll share with you a video that I made for daily giving when I made it. I don't know, 5 years ago. And I actually forgot about it until somebody recently came to me and said, "Oh, I just saw your video." I was like, "What video?" Daily Giving. I'm like, I think I did it 25 years ago, but it wasn't time. So 5 years ago. And it's simple like this. The way that daily giving is set up is like this. He can't really push it as much because, he has to be nice and humble. But I'm not getting paid, so I can say it straight up. Daily giving is an incredible opportunity. When we do something, sometimes we will never see until the next world, the impact. Like Rav Nisanium was saying about, so we have $1 a day, we have a smile a day. The impact when a person does that, how far it goes, one never knows, again, until the next world to understand. And when we get upstairs, we're going to get up there and suddenly we're going to see how much sachar, how much reward we get. Because we were involved in donating to this organization and to that organization and to this one and that and the other. And you'd be like, who are all these organizations? I never gave. I don't even know what you're talking about. Because you forgot about that you signed up to give $1 a day and it does it automatically. It's credit card, $1 a day. Comes out, I think, 30 a month, whatever it is, once a month or so. And then at the end of a year, you gave $365 to, I think it's 12 different organizations per year or so. How does it work out? 75? Okay, 175 million? 200 million organizations. Not really, but you're giving to over 75 organizations. And the schar just builds and builds and builds and builds. If you can't afford it, so then tell someone else to do it. But at least get the schar. Get to inspire someone else. If you can't afford it, then go and do it. I don't know what it's like in Queens. I don't really know who lives here, doesn't live here, and what. I don't know how it works. But I know that where I live in Yerushalayim, that iced coffee is a fan favorite. People like iced coffee. Let me say it differently. People like sugar. And they like to put a little coffee and a little milk with their sugar. And iced coffee costs 10 shekel, 12 shekel, 16 shekel. Depends where you're getting it and what size you're getting and how many you're getting per day. Just understand that $1 is 3.6 shekel. It wasn't so good. But anyway, the point is 3.6 shekel. $1 a day, what are we spending on? If you can't do it, don't do it. But be an ambassador to help other people, other organizations. So that's my pitch for daily giving. We should be involved with this. Understand, yes, you'll be helping others, but you're also helping yourself. We're helping ourselves in a big way. The next thing I wanted to talk about that we just mentioned is what the Rav mentioned about a smile a day and understanding how I can't speak for other generations. So you say in this generation, I don't know, you're ripping on my whole generation, but it's my life. There's a certain selfishness. And does anybody here speak a little Yiddish? Anybody speak a little Yiddish? Yeah? Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. How do you say in Yiddish, I? Say it again. Say it again, but give me an emphasis at the end. In Yiddish, to say I is ich. It's ich. You understand? It's just ich. When we talk about the I, it's just an ich-y thing. It's ich. It's disgusting. Why are we talking about I all the time? Which is why, that's why the Mefarshim explain, really grammatically, every morning when we say Moda'ani, we should be saying Ani Modeh. That's really what it should be. Ani Modeh. What's Modeh Ani? Because to start the day by saying the word Ani, me, I, ich, yo, sho, or in Arabic, I think it's just it's every word to me. Unless that's your language, I love it, it's great. But to understand that it's just it's gross. So we started with Modeh. That's a nice thing to start with. Modeh, I acknowledge, I recognize, I thank, I appreciate. Totally different starting point than the I. It's appreciate I, think I. Well, that sounds bad, by the way. I don't even think I, but it's I think the opposite. But starting to realize how that is, and this really is in the Rav's merit, what I'm going to say tonight, because I had something else entirely, but you messed with my head a little. So I want to explain that there's a sefer called Nefesh HaChaim. The sefer Nefesh HaChaim starts off the introduction. Rav Chaim Volozhin, his son, writes the following. He says, there's one thing that my father would speak about all the time. In our home, what was the line that was spoken about? It was, we are here in this world. The reason why we're here is in order to help somebody else. Now, I don't know if anybody knows who the Nefesh HaChaim was, if you understand Rav Chaim Volozhin, what the Sefer Nefesh HaChaim is. It's basically, in one word, the word Torah. That it's just the world is Torah, everything is Torah. Without Torah, you got nothing. The whole world runs on that. And that's why he speaks about why they have day and night. Why is it that we have different time zones? That right now, for me, it's... Oh, I didn't even change my watch yet. Okay, at 4 o'clock in the morning. Got in this morning. So why is it like in Eretz Yisrael it's 4 o'clock in the morning almost, and here it's almost 9 o'clock, and you go to California, it's another time zone, and you go and you keep going. There's different time zones around the world. Why are there different time zones? He said because if there wouldn't be different time zones, then maybe people would be sleeping at some point. And if the whole world would be sleeping, then the world would cease to exist, because without Torah you don't have anything. The world cannot exist without it. That's what the Mishnah says. I think maybe we spoke in a previous Chazaq thing about playing tag. Life is about playing tag. Torah, avoda, gemil chasadim. That's tag. We have to be learning, studying Torah, and supporting Torah. Avoda means being involved with tefillah, which is what it is today. It used to be karbonos, so hopefully, God willing, B'karov it'll be again. And then we have gemil chasadim, being involved with chesed. If we're lacking one of these three things, the world ceases to exist. So you think, what are you going to hear in the home of the Gadol Ador, of the greatest of the generation, of Rav Chaim Volozhin, who was a student of the Vilna Gaon? What are you going to hear in his home? Torah, 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 Tziva, right? But what do you hear? He said, we are here in order to help other people. That's the reason why we're here. Which goes nicely again with daily giving, right? We're here to go and help other people. So the question is, do we? Do we help other people? Now, what does that mean? Why would I say that to help other people? There's one line which comes up all the time, and that is, there's a pasuk in the Torah, and there's a few times the Torah tells us, V'holachta b'dorchav. That is that we have to walk in the ways of Hashem. We got to walk in His ways. I can't be stuck here. We have to walk in Hashem's ways. The goal is that we try to follow and mimic what it is that Hashem does. Mahu rachum afataruchum. Mahu chanun afatakum. Mahu gomel chesed. Do you usually gomel chesed? What does Hashem do? We try to be godly. The problem is many of us think that we're God already. The goal though is to actually be like God. God is the ultimate good and the ultimate giver. And we have to try as much as we can to be that giver. It takes a lifetime to get there. That's why anybody knows, you look at a little kid when they're born. When the little kids are born and you put your finger in their hand and they squeeze your hand really tight. No knows what I'm talking about? Right? Guys know what I'm talking about. They're like, take it, you know? The women know what I'm talking about. You know the babies are really cute, oh, so cute. Ah, then they smile at you, you're like, they're smiling at me, and then you realize they have gas. But the point is, enough about me. The point is that they squeeze the finger because they're so cute, they squeeze the finger. You know why it's so cute they squeeze the finger? Because it's all about me. Every little kid is like me, my. It's all about me. What happens when a person passes away? Hopefully. I don't mean hopefully they pass away. What happens, hopefully, when unfortunately it comes about when a person perhaps will pass away? The hands of a person who passed away are like this. It starts as a baby like this, and then what happens, it gets to like this. Now, interestingly, when rigor mortis sets in, it goes back to this. But the point is, let's not go into that. It goes from this, and then it goes to that. What is this? It's me, my. What's that? It's how can I help you? What can I do for you? Unfortunately, there are many people that are born this way, and they die this way. I don't mean that they die this way in terms of their hand. Their hand made open because the body releases whatever it is. But they live their life in a way where it's ich until they die with ich. And they're just the same as they were. When the goal is to try to get beyond that, get out of that. Let me behave like Hashem. What is it that Hashem does? Hashem does everything for who? For everybody else. What are we doing? Are we looking to see how can we help somebody else? What can I do for someone else? And if you think you can't do anything, let's at least not do something not good for someone else. You understand? Like, at the very least, don't be a jerk. At the very least. If you can't find yourself doing the positive, just stop doing the negatives. We're allowed, you don't have to go, you want to smile so big, but why do you got to frown to somebody? You don't want to say a nice compliment? Okay, but why do you have to insult? So fine, so don't compliment, but don't insult. Okay, but the goal should also be, maybe we could elevate to get to a point where we're complimenting, where we're helping, where we're doing. And I heard a beautiful, powerful story that brings out this idea. I didn't verify it, so I'm one of those guys. If it's not true, it's a nice story. If it's true, it's a nice story. The story that I was told, and I was told it was said publicly, so I'm going to say the name, and then Rabbi, you'll edit it if I'm not supposed to say the name. There's a fellow, I think, lives in Detroit. I believe his name is Gary Torgo. I think. I don't know if I met him, and if I did, and you're watching this, I apologize. It was great seeing you when we met. In any event, he said the following story. He was talking about the idea of chesed, of giving. Now, you have to understand a little bit who this fellow is. Who's Gary Torgo? Who is he? So, he's a wealthy fellow. He lives, again, I think in Detroit, and he supports a lot of organizations. He owns a bank, and he's involved with a lot of chesed. And one day he gets a phone call. He was trying to get the point across that we should try to help other people. Even if you think you can't, try. At least try. You see, how many times is it that let's do it the opposite way. Has anyone here ever asked for help from someone? Yes or no? Yes. 3 of you, okay. Right, you ask for help. Inglés? No English? You ever ask for help, yes or no? You ask for help. Right, so you go and you ask someone to help. How many, have you ever heard of someone go, oh, sorry, I don't know. Okay, yeah, sorry, no, I can't help you. Okay. Ever happened before? Yeah, oh, wow, okay. It happened to ich. It's an uncomfortable thing, but sometimes it's not uncomfortable. Okay, you tried, they don't know. It is what it is, fine. Okay, that's fine. Not everyone can help everything. He was trying to get a message across of try to help the person. So he gets a phone call one day. Someone I don't know if it's someone in the community or not. I think maybe it was someone that lived in the community, and they had a child that was sick, and they needed to get to a particular doctor in a particular hospital, and they weren't being unsuccessful. So they called him up and said, we've been trying for a while. He said, for what? How can I help you? Our child is sick. Maybe you could help us. Do you know people? So he's thinking as he's hearing which hospital, which doctor. He's heard of the hospital, but he doesn't know anybody there. Never heard of the doctor, doesn't know anything. But he said, okay, let me try. I'll try. So when he gets at the phone, he goes quick to his computer and he searches this hospital, and he looks for all the board members, all the people that are running the hospital, because people that are in upper positions can, they might know someone else, through we met at some who knows what and the other. He's looking through the names, and then he realizes, I don't know any of them. He didn't know one person. So he's like, what am I going to do? He just does this. And he picks a name. And he looks at the number, he gets an office number, he calls the number. When he calls the number, a woman answers, says, how can I help you? Says, my name is Gary Torgo. I am the president of such and such bank located in Detroit, and I'm looking to get in touch with Dr. So-and-so, who's one of the board members and a doctor and whatever it is. You can please have him give me a call back. He said, okay, I'll pass on the message. 10 minutes later, he gets a call. Is this Gary Torgo? He goes, yeah. Who's this? Yeah, my name is Dr. So-and-so, you just called? He goes, yeah. He goes, you're the CEO of this bank, of whatever this bank is called? You're the CEO? He goes, yeah. Really? He goes, yeah, check me out. He's like, okay, 1 second. Comes back a minute later. Okay, I see that there's a guy named Gary Torgo who runs that's you? He goes, yeah. He's like, I just wanted to tell you that your bank is horrible. And he's like, okay, why is my bank horrible? I've been trying to deal with my mortgage for like 6 months, and you guys just can't get it together. This is ridiculous. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'll look into it. He said, thank you. He's like, yeah. So the doctor then goes, but I imagine it's not why you're calling me. He goes, no, actually, that's not why. I mean, yes, that is why I'm calling you, sir. We give the best service here at our bank. CEOs call up, people upset. So he goes, no, that's not why I'm calling. He says, why are you calling? And he tells them what's going on. There's a family in the community that needs to see a doctor. Maybe you can help with that. You can help out. So he said, okay, let's see what we can do, whatever it is. The next day, the family had an appointment by a doctor, and this guy's mortgage was worked out. So you see, you can't help. Try. Give it a try. Who knows? Maybe you'll actually be successful. Is anyone here frustrated by this story? Because I can think when I heard this story, I was like, it's a really nice story, but he's a CEO of a bank. You can pretty much call anyone. You know what I'm saying? What am I saying? Imagine I call, hi, my name is, I call up like the White House. Hi, Gavriel Friedman here. The president of Gavriel Friedman Incorporated. CEO, founding member. Let's have the president call me, please. It's like, oh, really? Are you really who you say you are? Like, who cares? So I remember somebody telling me the story, and I feel bad. There's a lot of names in the story, so I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to leave out one, which really means I don't remember any of them. But I remember most of them, except for all of them. And the Yid that told me this story, as we were walking on Shabbos from someone's home to another home where they're doing a Kiddush. Yid number one brings me to Yid number two. I don't know Yid number one. I met him. Nice Yid, I think. And he brought me to Yid number two. He told me there's a Kiddush. I said, I'll come to a Kiddush for Klal Yisrael. I say, I go to Kiddushin for Am Yisrael. That's what I do. I said, I'll go. I go there. And I go to meet this other guy, and for some reason he decides to tell me the following story. I didn't prompt this. He just started. He tells me, I'm going to tell you something that happened in the past couple of weeks. He said, I was driving somewhere, and when I parked, someone came over to me and says, do you have a home like in a bungalow, like one of these? I don't know what you call it, bungalow colony. What do you call them? Really fancy. No, give me I went to a bungalow colony once and I called it a bungalow colony and they all yelled at me, how dare you, it's not, it's a summer home estate or whatever. So Okay, I was going to go with bungalow because okay. So they're not bungalows, by the way. Just want to be clear. Okay, they're very big mansions. But point is that he goes, are you staying at this bungalow? So the guy says, yeah, I'm in that bungalow. He goes, oh, I think my suitcase is there. So the person's like, well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you. And I wish you well. Like, what do you want from me? No, I think maybe someone took, no, because I have a suitcase, but it's not my suitcase, it's someone else's. But it's an identical one, and I think maybe I took theirs and they took mine. Can you call and find out if it's at your bungalow colony? Yeah, sure, I'll just call the bungalow people. Just check with the bungalow. Hello, Mr. Bungalow? Okay. I'm the CEO. So he says, what am I? But there is like a WhatsApp thing, puts on a thing, everyone saw this thing. Nobody writes back, whatever. Anyway, finally somebody says, yeah, but it's not in the lost and found. What are you talking about? So the guy says, listen, I don't know what to tell you, but let me try to help you. I mean, you need help, but let me try to help you. So he says, okay, so let me see, what do you have in yours? He's like, well, mine is filled with clothing, but it's not here. This suitcase is filled with medicine. I don't know what's going on. So he says, let me see. So they open it up and they look through the thing, they find a clear name. On one of the things, they find their name. So he goes online, types in the name. It comes up in some office. They call the office and say, do you know so-and-so? I said, yeah, sure, they used to work for us a year ago. Oh, can we have their personal information that you don't know who I am? They said, of course, we'll give you personal information to a random person. No problem. And they did. And they gave the number and they called up and this woman answers and says, excuse me, are you so-and-so? And she says, who wants to know? I added that in. I'm not sure if that happened, but that's how I picture the story. Who wants to know? So he says his name. It says her name. Yeah. Are you missing a suitcase full of medicine? Well, yes, I am. But I do have a suitcase full of someone else's underwear, but I don't know what's going on over here. They ain't mine. So he says, oh, where are you? Tell you what, about half an hour away or so. And they made the swap. So you don't like the Gary story, let's say. Why? It's just a yid trying to help someone else. So take another one. A yid's trying to help someone else. Just try to help. We're not here for We're here to be able to help somebody else. How can I help somebody else? What can I do for someone? To get outside of, like the Rav mentioned, of being selfish, just thinking about ourselves. Let's try to find somebody else. How can we help somebody else? Now, it's amazing to think about. I was thinking about this idea. Can you imagine this doctor who got the phone call out of the blue from the CEO of the bank that he's having a problem with? Can you imagine that morning and being like, oh, this mortgage thing is so frustrating. He walks into the office and the secretary says, the CEO of the mortgage company would like to speak with you. Can you imagine? You'd be like, huh? What? It's calling me? Like we hear the story when I first heard it, I said, okay, the beautiful thing, you helped somebody out. But it was something to think about the fact that this fellow, this yid went along and he was able to, how Hashem was mesaviv, he set things up. That what should happen, that everyone's here really for somebody else. It's just a crazy system. We're actually put in this world in order to help other people, and it's all set up like that. It's an amazing thing. I was thinking about, I was talking to a wealthy, a person with a lot of money. Someone who has a lot of money. Not his relative. He has, whatever. More money than I have. That's relatively not a lot. But the point is, after tonight, doctor. Anyway, the point is that it's dailygiving.org. .org, you got it? .org. Set up. I was talking with this person who I consider wealthy, and I was discussing how, like, it's amazing that sometimes somebody thinks, wow, I'm in a position where I have money, I have connections, I have whatever it is, and it's so nice that sometimes I get to help people. When the reality is, the only reason you're in that position is in order to be able to help people. It's not that I work and on the side I can help people. It's that I help people and on the side I work to be able to continue helping people. You understand the perspective? It's a crazy concept. There's someone who goes and Chovos HaLevavos is discussed in Shar B'Tachon how people, when they work, and sometimes people work so much and they work and they work and they work a lot. They work a lot. They work a lot. And they have a lot of money. And some people are giving a lot of money. This is not a knocking session. People do give a lot of money. There are some people that give a little less money. And they end up with all this money. They have so much money. And the question is, what do you do with all it? It's for my kids. How many kids yet, too? They each need 1.6 billion? Is that what? Well, yeah, I mean, inflation, yeah. Have you seen milk recently? Right? It's like, it's 1 billion. Leave them 100 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not enough. It's just Chavos always discusses. This is intense. That's not me. I'm quoting a bit of a Ibn Pakid. I'm quoting from 1,000 years ago. It's not on me. It's on one of your people, your Sephardi people. It says a bit of a the following idea. That sometimes people get confused. There's 3 categories of money a person makes. When I get involved in work, there's money that's for me, there's money for my family, and there's money for others that are dependents on me. And sometimes the 3 accounts get confused. And I might think that most of that money, well, that's for me, and some of it is for this, and some is for the other. Says the Chovos HaLevavos. I'm quoting. It's crazy. He says, you know what's going to happen? This guy's working so much getting all this money, he's just saving up all that cash for when he dies and his wife gets remarried, that guy gets it all. Isn't that nice? What a Baal Chesed. The guy's working for his wife's next husband. Is that not Chesed? That's hard. You know, usually there's a jealousy. He's like, no, I'm going to work for my wife's next husband. This is a crazy guy. So what do we do with all of it? There's a story about Rabbi Gavriel Friedman. Someone came to Rabbi Gavriel Friedman. There was a wealthy Yid. That's a Jew, by the way, in Yiddish. There was a wealthy, the word wealthy is wealthy. It's Yiddish. There was a wealthy Jew, and he came to Rabbi Gavriel Friedman. Big Yid. Actually very small, but very big. And he wanted a bracha, but he didn't want anyone to know who he was. You know, he's just coming in quietly. But the Gaboyim, they smelled it. They knew who he was. Like, Kodarav, Yishlo Arbe. Kodarav Arbe Kesef. But they find out that not only does he have a lot of money, but the guy's an amazing Baal Chesed. I want you to think about this for a second. We have something called Meiser. We give up 10% of our money, which, by the way, if you're not giving, start giving. Giving Meiser. This is not like games, serious business, 10%. Is it before taxes, after taxes? Line up to the Rav, he'll answer your questions after. But, leave that there. But we gotta be giving Meiser. Gotta give me at least Meiser. Okay, the Gemara says don't give more than Chomesh, don't give more than 20%. Some of you are like, phew, that was a close one. Okay, 30%, 40%, 50%. No. What if someone's really wealthy? Can somebody give more? The answer is yes, he can, or he or she can. So this guy came to Rabbi Leib, and the Gaboyim there, the people that make things happen, they found out that this guy is not just a wealthy person, but he's also Baal Chesed. The guy gives 50% of his money away every year. 50% of his money. And with that 50% of his money, he's supporting 100 families. There's 100 families he's supporting. Now, family could be 2 kids, but this is a little more religious, so let's call it 14 kids each. Right? He's supporting 14 billion people. It's unbelievable. So they came to Rabbi Leib and said, this guy, he's a Baal Chesed, he gives away 50% of his money to 100 families. He supports 100 families. Is that impressive, yes or no? Yes. So if Rabbi Leib looks to the guy and says, why do you need the same amount of money that 100 families need? That's a lot of money. What are you doing with that? So now there's always in the room, oh my gosh, it's disgusting. How dare I'm off the derech. That's it for Judaism. Everybody just relax, okay? First of all, you are already off. That's first of all. Second of all, you're just jealous because you don't have the money. And third of all, you're jealous that you're not a big rabbi. Here's the bottom line. Of course, you have to see the positive. There's no question about it. But Ryan Leib knew when to say what to who. And this guy understood the message. He got the point. Maybe we should give him just a little bit more. So going back to that idea, it's amazing how Kodesh Baruch Hu, Mesavi Sivum, Hashem goes and he sets things up. This person, Rahman al-San, is sick, needs to get through to somebody else. They need somebody else. So they call this fellow, and this fellow calls that one, who needs this person. And everybody's set up in a way that everything's going to work to go ahead to find somebody else. And I was thinking, even Viter on this, why is it set up this way? Why is it that we have this thing called hishtadlus, or we have to work to try to do things? So we know there's something called bitachon, trust. Emunah and bitachon, I'm not going to go through the whole details, but let's call it this right now. Bitachon means trusting in God. And we have the idea of hishtadlut, which means I'm trying, I'm putting my effort. And we know we have to do both. To what level, how much you put in, a sliding scale, it's a sharing of itself, but there's many sharing of themselves. But the basic understanding is that the more bitachon someone has, the less hishtadlut maybe they need to do. It's rare to find a person does no hishtadlut at all, although there could be such a level, the Al-Shukh speaks about. But the general populace is not like that. And the way the Chazaq writes, you got to put in your hishtadlut, you got to put in your effort. But don't be fooled into thinking for 1 second that your effort is what's causing the thing to come into effect. Which let me just say, we have to try, and we put in our effort, and then Hashem takes care of the rest. What's that similar to? It's like when a kid says, every kid always wants to help when they're little. They always want to help, and they always want to carry the heaviest, most expensive, most watery, hot dish. That's what they want. The hottest, expensive, watery, whatever it is for everybody, chamin, cholent, choresh, whatever it is. They want to go ahead, and they don't want to bad. They want to go and they carry this, right? And they want to bring this, the heaviest, most expensive heirloom from your great. You're not sure which side, grand. You're not sure which father or mother. But the point is, it's in the house. Your brother says it was the grandfather. No, it was the grandmother on the other side. Okay, fine. Leave out your family fights. But this 3-year-old kid's like, I want to help. So that's just very funny. So what do we say to the kid? What do you say? No. Yeah, no. Because I want to help. No. Sit down nicely and you'll get some. Sit down. You'll get some. Just sit down. So the kid's like, okay. Then the next question. I want to help. No. They're 4 years old. No. 5. No. 6. No. Then the kid's sitting at the table. He's 15 years old. The parent goes, why don't you get up and help a little? You lazy bum. Let's get up and help. And the kid goes, no. Like, chutzpah, where'd you learn that from? It's great. Okay, but some of us actually go ahead and we let the kid do it. By some of us, I mean the fathers, right? And then the mother's like, don't do it. The father's like, break it. So the kid goes and they carry it. When the kid carries it, the 3-year-old kid, it's heavy. What do you do, right? So what I did with my kids is I just left the room. I don't want to see what happens. But then my wife said I can't do that, and the rabbi said I have to listen to my wife, and it's the whole thing. So I would say to the kid, okay, let's do it together. Let's do Kalisha. So we go ahead, and he picks it up. Right? He or she or it, whatever, picks it up. The child picks it up. I don't want to identify what they are. A child. How dare I call them a child? Okay. The thing picks it up. Thank you. And you're really holding it the whole time. It's kind of like when you teach a kid how to ride a bike. And the kid's like, wow. And the parent's like, okay. It's like you can't. There's like the worst position, like the wheels between the leg, the thing, and then there's a rack. You're sitting on the rack. You're not even showing. The kid's like, I'm riding a bike. Whee! You're not doing anything. Your parent is running with you, and then the parent says, "You ready?" And they go, "For what?" "You ready? For what? You want to ride the bike?" "Yeah." Parent lets go, boom, kid falls straight in the floor. Anyway, favorite pastime of mine. So what it is that the kid goes and carries this bowl of hot, expensive, whatever food, but they're not really doing anything. They're just putting in their effort, but the result actually has nothing to do with it. Did we get what just happened? When we go ahead and we go to work, or whatever we do, whatever shtadlut we're involved with, we're that 3-year-old kid who's carrying the heavy pot of whatever it is, and you just got to put in your effort. But the question is, why do I have to put in effort? Why? Why would you do that? Just let me trust in you, God, and let you take care of me. I'll just, Hashlech al Hashem Yehavecha v'hu yichal kaleka, like David HaMelech writes in Tehillim, and that's the ultimate, like throw your burden onto Hashem and he'll carry you, he'll support you, he'll take care of you. So once again, there are levels like that. But the general understanding of why isn't it like that? And I don't know, I could just tell you, about 4 or 5 days ago, I was in Yerushalayim. I parked my car in a lot by Givara Miftar, by the Mekivot Kala, like the what? No, it's the light rail. Yeah, String Bridge is further. It's a great bridge though, but caused a lot of traffic. Well, they built it. However, I parked it there and I'm walking and I'm dealing with stuff in my life. I'm trying to do stuff. There's things I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with stuff. I think everybody's dealing with stuff, but I don't know if it's true, but I know I am dealing with stuff. And I keep the challenge. It's like one of the biggest challenges of my life that I've been through recently. And it's really not a big deal. Like it sounds like, oh my goodness, is everything okay? Are you all right? Yeah. I'm painting a house. I'm not sure what color. It's hard. It's not easy. And my wife sees different colors than I do. It's hard to see. I say it's white. She says it's off-white. I'm like, well, are you sure? But that's not really the challenge. But I'm going through something in my life. And it's really hard. It's a very big challenge. The challenge is to be able to keep in my mind that Hashem runs the world and I just have to put in my effort. So there's really nothing to worry about. Somebody said to me about a week ago, I was speaking with somebody, I know who it is, a certain Rav. I said, I'm just not sure what to do. And he said to me, well, the good news is that God does know what to do. So relax. I punched the guy in the face. I said, well, what? Now I feel better. You know what I mean? The truth is, I did feel better. It's true. So let go, let God, life's good. Right? Hi. To come to recognize that. So I was thinking, why does Hashem make us do Ishtadlus? And I don't know the answer. I'm sure there's many answers. There are answers, actually. The Chazaq always writes 2 of them, but I'm not going to go into that. I was thinking, I'd like to share with you a thought. Libi Omerli, and hopefully it's MS. I had 2 thoughts. I'm going to say one thing because my friend said one's kfira. So the thought that I had is that Hashem sets it up in a way that you have to do your shtadlut. And what happens when you go and you do that? You end up meeting more people. And then you end up sometimes being the one who steps in to help for somebody else. And it opens up opportunities of chesed, which is v'halachta b'drachav, which is, in the words of the introduction, the whole reason why we exist. You know why we have to do our ishtadlut and go and effort and try and speak and call and meet and whatever? In order that we can be also part of someone else's life, that we can help. Since I've been involved in my own little things, and I meet with other people, other things come up. I'm like, oh, maybe I can help you with that and try in another direction. The whole goal is to be able to understand, going a little bit more, we gotta try. Be like Hashem. Be like Hashem. Now, I'm gonna just take this, because it's called Light It Up, or something like that. I'm not sure what it's called. What's it called? That's what it's called? Light It Up, okay. So that can go in different directions. We're gonna go with Hanukkah for tonight. To understand, sometimes it's hard to help people. Sometimes it's hard. You know, we look at people and either we think they don't really need it, or we think that I don't really like them so much. Like, why should I do that? we have to learn about something. We light a Hanukkah candle, right? We light the candles in Hanukkah. Why do we light the Hanukkah candles? Because we know that when the Jews came, and I'm having a deja vu that I've said this. I definitely said this. I just don't know if I said this. Okay, well, Chazaq never heard anywhere. Little review, right? Chazaq never heard anywhere, except for Hevel, when Cain repeatedly stabbed him. Chazaq. Little Chumash joke. Anyway, we light the Hanukkah candles. And where did that come from? Well, it came from the famous story. We know that they came into the Beis HaMikdash. This is after the battle, Rabban Biad Be'atim. There was the many in the hands of the few, the wicked in the hands of the righteous, and so on and so forth. Ayin Sham, Alanisa. And they came in there and they were looking to be able to light the menorah. Because they remembered when they were little, those were the nights of Hanukkah, I remember long ago. And they wanted to light. They wanted to light up. So one guy's in rehab. But the rest of them said, oh, we want to light the menorah. So they went in there looking. They're trying to find, where can we find? Now we know that Al Pi Din, Al Pi Halacha, they really didn't have to look. I mean, you look, you don't find anything. Para mi, para ich. Thank you. What is this? Are you sure? Take a drink, please. No, okay. It's like the kings would do. Oh, it's like a Sephardi. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'akol niyeh b'dvaro. Amen. Whoa. So, I want to tell you something. This morning when I arrived here, it's crazy. I have a friend. I was on a story. We're on another one now. Hold on. I have a friend who asked me, how do you have so many stories? There's a guy in the shul I daven where I live in Givat Tzarfatit. And I speak in the shul there often in Givat Tzarfatit. So there's a guy who sits there, one of the Bali Kriya Balkoi, Shalomo. He said, which translates as, how do you have so many stories? And I told one of my students once, I said, you don't understand. Everybody has so many stories. You're just not paying attention. You have all the stories. This morning, I don't do drugs. I gotta work out my sentence structures. I'm like, this morning I don't. Mashma, yesterday morning. No. Let me start over. Let's full start. I do not do drugs. Oh yeah, you don't need sugar? You don't need sugar? Because sugar is drug. Okay, relax. Happens to me, I don't need sugar sometimes. I don't do drugs. I never did drugs in Israel or America. Or anywhere. I don't do drugs. Never did drugs. Thank God. Thank the good Lord. It wasn't out of a lack of opportunity. But it was simply like I also don't drink. I had this, in high school, I had a disease. It's called self-esteem. So I didn't have to do that. Never did it before. This morning, I went to rent a car at Budget in Newark. Do you guys know this story? That'd be amazing, because it literally just happened this morning. You know when speakers go, this morning, you're like, you told that story last week. Okay? And actually it wasn't you, it was someone else who told it. You stole that story from someone last week. Well, I'm telling you, you tell me who you heard this story from. This morning, I get in the car, I go to rent a car, and I asked them if the Lamborghini Diablo is still available for an upgrade. And they told me it was already given away, but it's $1,000 upgrade. I was like, okay, I'm not sure they were serious. They said, but we can upgrade you, because I always get like the lowest of the low of the low of the low. You know, there's no, I think it's called a Fred car, like a Flintstone, whatever. There's no, you just put your feet and push. Anyway, you have to get that to get that one. So they tell me I'm getting a Chevy Malibu. I'm like, oh, I'll be like, I'm in California. It's great, you know, because it's freezing outside. I get to the car, and I always do this to the cars, because Budget, they give you an actual slot. Some places give you like a section. And some of you are thinking, what do you mean? I just call my driver. Charles, come around, you know, so the driver was ill, so I couldn't do it. I opened the door to the car, I stick my head in to see like, okay, what am I getting myself into? the thick smell of just trying to elevate that permeated through that car. I'm like, oh no. And I get in, and I shut the doors, and I realized, I think that's called a hot something, whatever. So I opened the windows, I drove to the front to tell them I gotta switch the car. I think I understand what people mean. Like I was in there for I just took a breath, I'm like, what is this car? This is crazy. I returned the car. I stayed in for a few hours, and then I returned it. The next one, though, let me tell you, that's not really good. The second one, not the first one. So they come into the Beis HaMikdash, and they're walking around the Beis HaMikdash, and they're looking for some shemen, for some oil to light up the menorah. And as they're looking for the oil, they can't find until finally they're on a search and a rescue. They find a pach shemen. They find that there's this little oil, this little jug of oil. And they go and they light up that jug of oil. And the amount of oil that was in there was meant to last for how long? Machlokas, okay. This is okay, it's the einzige place. Let's try again. That jug that they found was enough naturally to light for how many days? 1 day. 101? Hour? Okay, whatever, an hour. I'm fine with that. Less than 8 days. How's that? That's all that was in there. And they lit it up. And when they lit it up, and here comes a deja vu, it stayed lit for how long? Not a machlokas? How long? What'd you say? 7? Oh, Beit Yosef. Very good. Very cute. Very cute. Every year, a Rav answers, they say, Beit Yosef, there's a question, why is it 8 days, it's really 7 days? And they said, you know how many answers he had? 100 answers. Next time I heard, 200 answers. He had 500 answers. 10,400 billion answers. 1 billion, 2 billion, 17 billion, trillion, gazillion Google answers. So there's a lot of questions. That is, how long did it last for? The answer that it lasted for from when they lit it, for how many days? From when they lit it until, for how many days? 2,000 years. Why do we light Hanukkah candles? We light Hanukkah candles because they actually looked for the Pach Shemen. They found the Pach Shemen, they lit it, and miraculously it lasted for 8 days, which was a natural, supernatural, whole thing supernatural, Ramban, but it lasted for 8 days. And the next year they did it, and the next year they did it, the next year they did it. And we are lighting Hanukkah candles today because of the fact that they looked for the Pach Shemen. This idea I heard from Rabbi Ephraim Waxman Shlita. 2,000 years we're lighting the menorah because of the fact that they decided to look. Sometimes you look at a person, I'm going to help them, I don't really like them. You know what? When they walked into the Beit HaMikdash, this is too much to get into details. Look up the Gemaras, but you don't have to be looking for it. Once the congregation needs something, then it is now permitted to use things that are impure. They didn't have to. Why did it take 8 days? Because the amount of time that it would take till they got, you have to use shemen zayit zach, you have to use pure oil, olive oil. What's pure olive oil? The first drop that comes out of an olive, the first drop. The second drop you can't use. Shemen zayit zach means if you have a bottle of shemen zayit zach, that is thousands and thousands of olives because it's one drop from every olive. Then they use the rest of it for other things, but the point is that shemen zayit zach. And it takes 8 days for them to be able to purify and get everything done and whatever it is. So that's why it ended up being that those are the days, and it stayed lit during those days. They didn't even have to do that. They could have just lit with impure oil. Because of a principle known as Tumah Hutra B'tzibur. They could have just done that. But they didn't do that. They said, no, we're going to look. We're going to look for it. We're going to find something here. And they went in there and they looked for it. And when they looked for it, they found it. And we light the menorah today for thousands of years because of the fact that they didn't say when they walked in, ew, looks really gross here. Oh, I don't know. I don't really like that. they walked in and they were visionaries. They said, we're going to find the good here. We're going to look for the good here. We're going to try to see what it is. Can we find that good? And that good, says the Sfat Emet, who I would call the Sfas Emes, same fellow, says the Sfat Emet, he says, just like they found that Pach Shemen, untainted oil amongst destruction and contamination and impurity, they found a beautiful, pure jug of oil. So too, every Jew has inside of them. It could be, it's possible, that we've done things that makes us a little bit impure, a little dirty. Okay, a lot dirty. But every one of us has inside of us a jug of oil, the neshama, Elokai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi, the most pure thing, that from that is where everything can go and sprout from. For thousands of years. The question is, are we looking for it? Or do we go to the immediate, obvious thing and just kind of like give up hope on the person? What's the point? Why would it even help that person? I saw today in MMA an idea which is unbelievable. I don't verify it, I'm just throwing it out there. There was a boy that was thrown out of a yeshiva because it was too much. It was too much. I don't know the details. If we want to make the story sound not so bad, he was impacting the other kids in a negative way. He was bringing the whole thing down and whatever it is. And they tried, but they couldn't. They tried again, they couldn't. They tried again, but eventually they had no choice. They had to send him out. Fast forward years later, and the Rosh Yeshiva of that place saw the boy. The principal saw the boy. And he saw that he was successful and he looked put together. He was a mensch. He became a real person and he had a family and he was really doing well. So he says to the kid, he said, listen, you know it was a difficult situation, right? It was hard. It was very hard dealing with you when you were in school. He said, yeah, Rabbi, I know. He said, so how'd you turn around? What happened? He said, I had a teacher in the school, one of the Rebbeim. And he would call me every single week. I don't know, it was maybe 2 years or something it was. He called me every week for 2 years. And I just felt so loved and so cared for. I decided to change my life around. He was so moved by that. He found the rabbi and he told him, he said, you know, remember this kid? He's like, of course. He goes, you know, he's like doing great. He's really living his life. He's doing a wonderful thing. He's like, wow, I didn't know. That's amazing. He's like, yeah. And you know why? He said, why? He said, because you called him every week for 2 years. You understand how impactful that is? And the principal saw that the teacher was a little confused. He said, well, you didn't call him? He said, no, I did. He goes, then what are you confused by? He goes, he never answered the phone. He never answered, not one time. I called him every week for 2 years and he never answered the phone. And yet he still changed his life based off those phone calls. Imagine being the one making the phone call. You try, you try, you try. Nothing, nothing, nothing. You try, nothing, you try, nothing. But what's the reality? You try something, you try something, you just don't see it. And we think that why am I even wasting my time with this person? He's really not the greatest kid, but clearly he understood there's something good there, and he looked for that. And when he looked for that, he continued doing it and continued doing it. The kid got to a point where he was able to actually get himself together because somebody saw the good. So crucial that we're able to go and to see the good in other people, that we try to. Where it starts is from trying to figure out how to make the word ich good as well. It starts with seeing the good in yourself. I don't remember the exact quote, so I'm making up the quote. I think Rav Yerucham is where I heard this idea. It says, for a person who did not know their flaws, that's bad. You have to know your flaws. You have to know where you're lacking in order to work on it. But for a person to not know their good qualities, that's catastrophic. You gotta know that you're good. You gotta know that you have something to be able to give, and that you're special and there's something there. You wanna fight me? No, fine, it's really small, you're right. You're tinily good. But it's still there. And from that point is how a person can then go ahead and elevate themselves. And once a person feels good about themselves, then we can try to find it in somebody else. Try to take a look and see, how can I go and see somebody else? So let's do the following. I'm going to do a quick recap of everything we did. End off with one point, and then I'm going to try to go to sleep. And if you need any help, please, you can email me whenever you want. My email is rabbinisanion@gmail.com. I know it sounds Sephardi, but whenever you want. You can even call me whenever you want. I'll give you my number. Give me your number. Whenever. So we started off in the beginning. First of all, we're Pesach corner to make sure we're down for Pesach Yosef Ben Hinisher for Shlema. Amen. And make sure that we go and we take about the idea and saying to Hillel and giving, because he did so much for Klal Yisrael over the last many years. I don't know what to say, but many years. 60 years. He's been giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, and it's an unbelievable thing, which brings us to daily giving. We got to be part of daily giving. If you're not doing it already, get part of it. This is not just it's not a theoretical thing, right? We have in the room right now, it looks like close to like 4,000 or 5,000 people, which is just amazing. Why are you laughing? It's the camera guy. Right? It's okay. Quiet. Right. No, we have the room right now, let's do 20, looks like 204. So about 204 people. We just have another 204 people signing up. Sign up, daily giving, give. It's blind giving. You get, and it just racks up your account. Dailygiving.org. Let me tell you where Rabbi Nisani comes and says, "Let's smile a day." Living in a generation where we're a little bit selfish. We just think about ourselves and understand how you say yourself. That's the idea of me. It's just gross. It's disgusting. Person just thinking about themselves all the time, but the real understand comes along. Rav Chaim Volozhin's like a sunrise at the beginning of the person. Why a person is the wild was saying, "My father just staying in my house all the time." We're here for somebody else. That's it. Tag Torah. We're gonna go and help somebody else. That's the goal. To be thinking like, how can I go and help another person? That's the story, right? Then we can't do it. We should at least try. That comes like with Gary Torah. Whatever he's gonna fuck over. He said, "Your bank, terrible bank." Okay, I'm so sorry. Whatever. Then he goes, he'll be back, which is the whole thing when a person goes around and shit. Then why do you live in 100 people's salary? That's crazy, right? It's 100 families, right? It's really 14 billion because it's like the 14 kids per thing, right? Then we go to the story of the bungalow, Chas Hashem, fancy living place in other places, right? So why the person goes and realizes going to things, the medicine and the underwear, and he goes and makes the whole thing over there. I believe we got to at least try to do something. We don't like the idea of the CEO calling someone. It's a regular person calling someone. And what happens if it goes to change over there? We have to do the same thing as well. Try to go in and try to help somebody else. We got to looking for them. We got to be trying to open our eyes to this concept here, and that's really what it is. Looking. Nobody they come at them. What are you doing? They find out. They go and find something because they looked. Because they looked and they searched and they searched and they looked. They didn't even have to do this thing, but they searched and they looked and they looked and they looked. How can I help? What could we do? How can we do more? And when they looked and they do more, all of a sudden, we light the Hanukkah candles, not for one day, but for 2,000 Machlokas again. Okay. The answer is we do these things. So this is what it comes out to. But it's really hard. Sometimes they're really not good. They're really gross. We gotta find that pintali. We gotta search. We gotta investigate. We gotta look for it and find that untainted, pure. Some call the pintali. That pure neshama that's there, that's untouched. That from there we can get that and we can light that up in my Chevy Malibu. If we could do that, then that will change the whole person. Then we have to understand the ich. That's I myself. I gotta find the good in myself. That is, if a person doesn't know their flaws, that's bad. You don't know your qualities. You don't know your positive traits, catastrophic. We got to find ourselves and look inside and find that as well. The question is this going to be another speech, which is like a nice idea, and you go, Shkaya, chairs, Chazaq Baruch, move on with life. Or is every one of us going to try, at least try, to get to a point of Lachta B'Chav? Is it going to be on topic? You're going to kill me. I could go for it.
You were saying before that when you do the Shabbos, it doesn't necessarily...
Oh, I forgot that to repeat, yeah.
It doesn't necessarily, don't be fooled that if you do Shabbos, that because you did something might come, but isn't there a concept of Midah K'neged Midah?
Okay, no questions. Thank you so much. Okay. The question was, we spoke about the idea of doing Hishtadlut, right? I got confused in Ashkelon and Sfar there. Hishtadlus, Hishtadlut, it's not Hishtadlat. Anyway, so doing Shtadlut, and the idea of trusting the fact that Hashem is going to take care of everything. So what do you mean to say that my doing something is not having a response when we know the whole world we live in is called midah keneged midah, right? Which is measure for measure. The ultimate answer to your question is that the world we're living is a world of physical. So when we're living in the world of physical, the cause and effect that we normally are used to is that I put in the work, I get the money. But putting in the work, money is not midah keneged midah of putting in work. That's not a midah keneged midah. That's a cause and effect in the physical nature. Midah keneged midah is literally measure for measure, and that plays out in the world of ruchani, of the spiritual realm. So these are two separate, you understand? We're on two different planes. One question is a question about the physical, one's talking about the question of the world of the spiritual. Absolutely midah keneged midah. But that doesn't mean it's going to be cause and effect. Did that answer? That was a great question, and if I do say so, it's an amazing answer. You're welcome, and thank you. Okay, so my homework for all of you is to open ourselves up to the possibility of trying to get out of ourselves just a little bit. And the next time somebody asks us something, instead of rushing to the answer is no, at least say, let me think about it. Let me try to brainstorm. Let me try to see if there's something I can help you with. What can I do? When I'm in the midst of my situation, I'm speaking with them in Eretz Yisrael, dealing with something, I called up a Rav, and I said, I need some help with something. I've never met this Rav before. Never met him. And I said to him what I'm going through, and I need some help. So he says, the players that are involved, that I need help with, he's like, I don't know them. I have nothing to do with them. I don't even know who these people are. So I was about to say, okay, thank you so much. Have a great day. But he didn't let me get there. He goes, I don't know who they are. Just give me a few days. I'm going to make a few phone calls and try to see if I can find out who they are. So I said, first of all, thank you for answering your phone. Because that's like a real novelty. A rare commodity. And second of all, thank you for actually caring to try to help me. Even though you never met me, and you don't even know who I need help from. Just the fact that you say you're going to help me, right? We know that they say, Shelat Chacham is Chatzi Tshuva. Just asking a wise person is already half of the answer. This is much more than that. You're actually going to try to help me. And he was upset at me that I said that. He goes, what are you talking about? We're in the parashas now of Avram Avinu, who's the man of chesed. You think the people needed his chesed per se? He says they didn't necessarily need his chesed, but he went out of his way to try to help them anyway. And that's what we are meant to be doing over here, to go out of our way to help. So just stop and think for a moment. Even if the answer will be, I don't know and I can't help, and I'll try. At least we can pray for them, we can daven for them. We can throw out one of those 1 billion WhatsApp chats, throw it out, and who knows how it's going to come back. But try to do something. And b'siyata d'shmaya, bless you, if we try to do that small little thing, who knows, maybe the impact will be for thousands of years. Thank you for coming, and good Tanakh.